what is the case for not being a Richard Hart maximalist?
Okay. Well, for one thing, if I were a Richard Hart maximalist, I would be unable to do my job, because that would mean that I would be unable to advocate for my clients because they're all non-Richard Hart products. How could I possibly ask for people to do media coverage or create PR materials or create marketing materials for my clients when my clients are all non-Richard Hart products if I were a Richard Hart maximalist? So there's that.
Okay.
There's also that so I get it, right? Like, I'm not ever going to try to convince anyone not to be a Richard Hart maximalist, but when you become a maximalist of anything, you limit your consciousness. You're like, I will not step outside of this. So I'm only looking at this and this and this, and everything outside of that is outside of my scope. I have this narrow scope. And there's a reason to have a narrow scope for sometimes, right? Like, some people thrive in vacuums, I guess. I'm not one of those people. So and then specifically with becoming a Richard Hart maximalist, I would say that would prevent, or that would create an even more pressing problem for me, because that would mean that I'm unable to think for myself, and whatever Richard says or does, that means that's what I say or do. That's what I believe. And the need to think for myself, I wouldn't be in cryptocurrency if I didn't think for myself. I never would have entertained the idea of talking to the Hexicans if I didn't think for myself. So that is completely outside of anything that I would ever be willing to consider or do.
It's an interesting perspective. Yeah, I think I differ a little bit in the definition. And funny enough, I think that's something, of course, my name is RH Maximalist. But I think I'm trying to bring something better to the brand of RH Maxis too. Literally in my Twitter bio, it says first principles thinker. So I that's what I try to keep a balance of. I try to keep a balance of literally thinking from the ground up, thinking for myself, but also supporting RH products. There's a lot of things I've talked about on stream. I don't agree with every single thing he says. And I've criticized him constructively, just like a lot of other people, even being the RH maximalist. But I'm just trying to think of,
So then there's things like, if you're a Richard Hart maximalist, you close the door on communication with anyone who believes that Richard Hart maximalists are all this extremist group who are completely unopen to hearing new ideas or listening to things or thinking for themselves. So in my
that's something I'm trying to change, by the way. That's something, again, it's something I'm trying to change, the refreshing the brand of what it means to be RH maximalist, to make it seem like, okay, just because you're a maximalist doesn't mean that it's all the other ideals are shut out and things like that. But I think that's what most people think.
Brand of maximalism. That's maximalism.
Well, I think you can have different flavors of maximalism, though. I think there will always be people who take it to the it's kind of like libertarian. I'm a libertarian, by the way, but I identify as a pragmatic libertarian. So I don't believe in no government. And I believe in certain social programs, but I believe in doing it in a way that you can make some compromises, very, very few compromises, in order to help the overall, whatever things you value, to help influence those things. So I still believe the way that I portray maximalism it's a different flavor. Maybe it's not the one. I think it's not the one that most people have seen and that most people relate to and want to stay away from. I definitely understand that perspective. I wouldn't be that. I don't know. Maybe it's far left, far right, that kind of extreme type stuff. But again, that's what I want to do with the channel too. I want to say you can be an RH maximalist by maybe some. It'd probably be helpful to score some core principles. Not looking for shiny objects outside of the ecosystem. I still like products outside of Hex, Pulse, and PulseX, but I try to stay within the community projects and the community ecosystem, things like that to help those products. But I don't think I think you can be a maximalist without agreeing to everything Richard says and only focusing on the things he's doing all the time. I think there's a different flavor that can be there. At least that's what I believe. That's what I'm trying to bring.
Definitely not according to his definition of maximalism. So if you were to tweet your opinions on cryptocurrencies that he's spoken unfavorably of or just doesn't speak of, that would classify you as a non-RH maximalist.
Interesting. Well, I don't know if I have that list of things that I could even go down, but yeah, I think I want to change that. I want to change the definition a bit. I think it can be better. I think it can be healthier.
I don't know how you can change the definition of Richard Hart maximalism. I think Richard Hart would have to change the definition of Richard Hart maximalism, but
maybe. I'm not sure. I think interesting wordplay on that. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I think at least I can bring a more healthy version of it than what people have seen so far. I think that's one of my missions too, and that's the reason that's my name is I want to keep myself honest. I don't want to. Following Richard Hart for 5 years now, 5 or 6 years, way before Hex, all that stuff, and beyond his products, I like his ideals. I like Scivive. I like Fix the World. I like the things longevity, all this type of stuff. So it's not even about the crypto part. It's about in general the ideals he has, the things he believes in.
Right, but why do you have to call yourself a Richard Hart maximalist to keep yourself honest, right? Like I don't identify as a Richard Hart maximalist, but have a high degree of integrity, carry it into everything that I do, remind myself of it all the time, and will never call myself a maximalist of anything.
It's a good question. I do it because I don't want to be in the bear market. I think a lot of people in the bear market, when they see Hex down, they see PulseChain hasn't launched, they see all these things, they start looking outside. They start getting bored. They start saying, I want to do something else because this isn't as fun anymore. And I want to make sure that's my name and that's part of my brand, because to tell myself, hey, if I ever see myself straying, oh, I'm getting bored. Hey, I want to look over here. Oh, what's this new project? I want to say, what is my goal? Financial freedom. To live and breathe a lot of the ideals that I like that he's popularized. Okay, so if that's my goal, I need to go as deep in this vertical as I can. I need to I want to focus my consciousness. I don't want to play all these other games, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, that sort of thing. I don't want to get involved in all of this other noise because crypto is so big and there's so many great other projects out there and people and things like that. And it's fine to interact with them, but for myself, I want to limit my consciousness to this ecosystem because I believe it has everything I need to achieve the goals that I want to achieve.
There are people in other ecosystems who believe that too. People in ecosystems that have completely failed who believed that. And Definitely. Because their consciousness was limited, they were completely unable to see that their own thing was failing.
True. Yeah. And to that, I would say this time is different. And I know I'm not the only one to ever say that, but
they said that too. I'm not saying it isn't, but I'm saying that's what everyone thinks.
You gotta bet on some horse, and for me, it's Richard Hart.
Okay.
So, great discussion. Now you've read some good points.